I don't even know what that is for, but anyway, welcome back to my newly created but very much abandoned YouTube channel. So to all my like 6 subscribers that are all family members and friends, thank you guys so much. Now, if you guys remember from the previous videos, obviously we were expecting the arrival of baby girl. No, baby girl is now here, and I have so many opinions and so many things I want to talk about or address, and I don't even know where to start. But one thing I think I'm going to really touch on is postpartum. Now, everybody is excited and anticipating the big reveal, the arrival of baby, right? But once this little mini human comes and the reality hits you that you are solely responsible for this thing, this being, and it's handed to you and you're expected to know what to do with it. And I'm like, and if you don't, then what happens then? Who's gonna step in? How does this work? It's not all fun and games, right? No. I'm not gonna say I'm not necessarily an emotional person, but I usually can control my emotions. But since the arrival of Naomi, now that I know it's a girl, the entire pregnancy I didn't know what the sex was, but now that she is here, the emotions that I was flooded with, I wasn't anticipating it. There's no book, there's no advice, there's no family member or friend that can completely prepare you for it. You have to literally go through it to understand, because there are no words really that can explain it. Now, day 4 after her arrival, now of course I did a home birth, and anybody who does a home birth, naturally they want to take the natural path, right, which is breastfeeding and all of that. So in our mind we have this preconceived notion of how exactly it's going to go, and if you're like me, a planner and an overthinker, you're very this is going to work, right? But then what happens when that plan is just completely shattered and you're now forced to readjust with something like this? Now that was my situation. By day 4 I was in the bed curled up in a ball, just bawling, because every time I breastfed my baby it felt like hell, from the blisters to just the soreness and the bleeding and the scabbing. And I'm like, first of all, there's no way this is healthy. Second of all, this don't feel right. I was in tears and constant pain. So when I was feeding her, like after 12 one night, I said to Kemar, text the neighbor and ask him if he can take you to the store to go buy some formula. I hated the fact that I had to give her formula, but I'm like, I prefer a fed baby than a miserable mommy, because that would be good for nobody. So once I made that decision, let me tell you, I don't know if it's sadness, I don't know if it's stress, like I literally have no words to describe the feeling that came over me once I had to give my baby formula, because that wasn't in my plan, right? But there are 2 words that I've learned, and it's surrender and obedience. I had to surrender to what was going on and just be obedient to the instructions that were given to me. I don't know if it's from God, I don't know if it's my common sense, I don't know what it was, but something clicked and I'm like, listen, just give her the formula, right? And again, there is no amount of preparation that can take place for that can adequately prepare you for what's going to happen. And my thing is, I don't know how to ask for help. I've never known how to ask for help, and I come from a culture that tells you don't ask for help. Whatever you're going through, you just figure it out, right? So I didn't know how to ask my partner for help, my neighbors, nobody, but everybody was there asking me, what do you need, and I couldn't tell them. I couldn't find the words to vocalize to tell them like this is what I needed. But then I had to step out of that. I had to step outside of myself and realize that that don't make any sense. So when my friends started to check in by WhatsApp and Instagram Messenger and everything, they're like, how are you? I had to stop lying, because my response was always, I'm okay, it's going okay, I'm fine. And I had to stop. I'm like, I don't know, no, I'm not okay, blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you need? I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you. And when it really hit me was one morning I woke up and I kind of just snapped at Kemar. That was our first disagreement. And him being the man he is, of course, I was met with rebuttal, right? Because I was not able to explain to my partner, who sleeps beside me every single night, that I needed these things, because in my mind, I'm like, he's here every day, he sees me, so he should be able to pick up on the cues and be like, she says she's fine, but she's not all fine. Usually when she says she's fine and she's fine, she blink 5 times, this time she only blink 3 times. Like whatever my cues are, I was expecting him to know, because he's the closest person to me. So when he didn't pick up, or when she's in the bed crying and he can just sleep, And I'm like, I'm struggling, can't he see this? And I have to remember that we're two different human beings, right? And he's coming from here, I'm coming from here, we meet in the middle, and everybody expects us to have complete cohesion all the time and to be on the same page, and that we're somehow interconnected, where I know his thoughts, he knows my thoughts. That's kind of stupid. So it's when he said, it doesn't matter how simple of an instruction it is or how obvious it is to you, I don't know. Because one, he's a guy, I'm a girl, we're wired very differently. So he says, tell me, teach me. And how he said it, it almost broke my heart, because I'm like, Roxanne, all you had to do was open your mouth, just like with anything else. When my neighbors ask, what do you need? I'm like, I'm good. No, I'm not good. I want some rice, I want some flour, I want some sugar. Shoot. People started asking me and I started telling them exactly what you need. Right now, I have enough laundry detergent to wash a lot, because that's what I didn't have. And now I'm okay. The moment I started to open my mouth and vocalize what I was experiencing, then several of my friends were like, baby girl, we've been through it, but this is what you do. And one of the things that was a common theme was they were like, give yourself some grace, because your baby gives you grace. And I'm like, how do you do that? Kind of a thing, you know. So Christmas Eve is when it got really bad, and my sister came around here and she was like, okay, come, let's go drive around the community and look at Christmas lights and everything. And the whole time I was in the car, I wasn't happy. My anxiety was through. Did you know that I had it? I'm like, first of all, what is this? I'm not gonna put a label, I'm not gonna say anxiety, but my emotions were very high. And even though the lights were pretty and outside the temperature was nice and cool and calm and relaxing, on the inside I felt like hell. But I started to pray, and everybody who I spoke to, especially my closest friends, I was like, keep me in your prayers, blah, blah, blah. And as the days went by, it started to get better. And I could feel the prayers of my community working, because that wasn't me. And every day since has been amazing, especially since I told Kemar exactly what I needed. So now he was able to stand in the gap and filling in the places where I really needed help. And ladies, we have to learn to tell our partners exactly what we need, even if it's something that they're not accustomed to, like cleaning the bathroom. We know that it's not going to be done to our liking. We know that it's not going to be done how we want it to be done, but at least it's done, so it takes something off your plate. Because especially if you're a mover like myself and somebody who's accustomed to just doing everything, especially by yourself, it's gonna get a little bit frustrating, but you just have to throw in the towel, wave the white flag, and say enough is enough. Make the house dirty, just make the plate pile up and whatever. Because again, nobody prepares you for the mental or the emotional aspect of giving birth. So yeah, even though she's so cute, she's so perfect, like she's the prettiest little girl, right? Even though she's that, there's some days that's rough, and it's gonna get rough. And again, you just have to remain prayerful and just ask your community to help you. Ask them to step in. And when people offer you help, just accept it. Just accept it and surrender and be obedient. So here are some notes that I made that helped me. And the first one is to ask for help and be willing to accept the help, because I didn't know how to. And it says find some time in the day to do you, which means ask a family member, a friend, a neighbor, your spouse to step in, just so you can go get a break. And whether that is go journal, go color in a book, go do some kind of hobby, or just sit and do nothing, but just find some time in the day to do you that reminds you of what you were pre-baby. The next one is don't underestimate, man, this is so important, don't underestimate the importance of natural vitamin D. Get outside, get that sun on your skin, on your scalp, just stand there and bask in it, just take in that fresh air and just be outside. If you can be outside barefooted at some point, because once your foot bottom touch earth, that connection is also powerful. Don't underestimate vitamin D and fresh air. And one thing is, don't isolate yourself. Don't surrender to the feeling. Don't give in. Do not be by yourself and allow your mind to run wild, because that is a very dangerous place to be. So again, tell the people to come over, people that are close to you, of course, especially in these times that you have been careful and whatever, but just don't be alone, don't choose to be alone. And lastly, I can't say this enough, let it go. Let it go. let the house go, you're usually known to be the person that keeps everything in spick and span state or whatever. Let it go and just be. So those are my takeaways. Thank you guys for sticking around, and remember, walk good and take care of yourselves and each other. Later.